present. So all accounted for, we do have a quorum. Everybody had the minutes ahead of time. Everybody had a chance to review them. Are there any comments on the minutes, or do I have a motion to approve and submit it to both pre-council and regular council?
I'll make a motion for the approval of the minutes for May 15th pre-council and regular council meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay. Councilor Spivey?
I make a motion for the approval of the current bills for payment in the amount of $190,000 to $190,215.11.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. Do we have any professional or consultants reports tonight? Thank you. Mayor?
Get this microphone out. Good evening, Council. Good evening. And good evening to each of you. Thank you all for being here. This is a very special occasion and honor for me and for, I think, our town. I would like to ask Chief Josh McDaniel, if you will, to stand forward here, and your wife, if you will, with me. I announced this at the last meeting because nobody around here can keep a secret, and I know you all are spreading the word, especially the fire department. I mean, they can really spread the gossip around. So I announced that we were hiring Josh McDaniel as our new fire chief at the last meeting that we had, and said that we would officially swear him in tonight. And even though he started a couple of days ago, I'm not sure if he got paid for those first couple of days or not, but it's all right. We'll work that out. I want to say what a pleasure it is for me. I worked on this appointment for about 5 months, from January to May, and I had some other folks helping me, council representative, a department head representative, just to get a different set of eyes and ears and be a part of the conversations. And we looked inside the department, and we looked outside the department, and we had a lot of good candidates, both internally and externally. But it became apparent to us as we went through that process over those months, and there were peaks and valleys all through there, as would be typical, that this was the right man for the job. For a number of reasons: for his experience, for his professionalism, for where he's been and what he's done. He served with the Trussville Fire Department. He served as assistant chief at Leeds. He is also, we like to talk about this, council, he is also one of our own. He graduated from Shades Valley High School, grew up here in Irondale, and lives in Irondale now. So it's my pleasure to be able to introduce Josh to you, but also to introduce our new fire chief. And we're going to have a little ceremony here. His wife is going to help me. And I told him that, when I read this, I'm going to read about a 10-sentence long paragraph and see if he can repeat after me. We'll start out slow and we're going to build up, okay? All right. I, Joshua Lee McDaniel.
I, Joshua Lee McDaniel.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
To faithfully, honestly, and impartially.
Faithfully, honestly, and impartially.
Discharge the duties of fire chief for the city of Irondale.
Discharge the duties of the fire chief for the city of Irondale.
To the best of my ability.
To the best of my ability.
To uphold the laws and constitutions of.
To uphold the laws and constitutions of.
The United States of America.
The United States of America.
The state of Alabama.
The state of Alabama.
And the city of Irondale.
And the city of Irondale.
To promote accountability and commitment.
To promote accountability and commitment.
Excellence and integrity.
Excellence and integrity.
To serve my fellow members.
To serve my fellow members.
With respect and dignity.
With respect and dignity.
And to serve the citizens of the city of Irondale.
And to serve the citizens of the city of Irondale.
With compassion and honor.
With compassion and honor.
So help me God.
So help me God.
It's my pleasure to introduce to you officially our new fire chief for the city of Irondale. Thank you all very much. Very well deserved. The council, I hope you appreciate it as well, because I know you mentioned from time to time, it's always nice when we see our folks come back and do well. So this is just one more example We've had them in academics, we've had them in sports, and now we have them in fire service. And I'm going to let you do the honors of pinning the badge on the chief. I'll stick them. The mic is yours.
Good evening. I spent the last couple days, I started Tuesday, spent those first few days just going around to the stations, meeting the guys that work at those stations, and just wanted to get to know everybody. So this is somebody that's coming in that they don't know, and they don't know me and I don't know them, but I've tried to let them know how I am. And if you were to think about it as one of those little cards that you can scratch off and there's something underneath it, you know, whether it's a little gambling ticket or whatever. If you were to scratch away chief, to me, there's two words that should be there, and that should be advocate and facilitator. And that's what I've tried to tell the guys here is that's what I've got to be. That's what I'm taking this role to be, is I'm going to be an advocate for the guys of Irondale Fire Department and for the citizens of the city of Irondale. I should also be a facilitator. That's my job, is to get the fire department what they need to do their job and to be the best fire department that they can be. This is not about me standing up here and having this title of chief. This is me giving back to the community that gave to me. And that's what this means to me. It's important to me, and it's a privilege to get to come back to the city that I was raised in and that my grandmother was raised in, and get to be a part of that. And I'm excited to be a part of Irondale Fire Department. And it's like I said, we're going to be a big family, and we're going to do things together. This is not my department. This is our department, and we're going to do this together. We're going to come together. We're going to figure out what we want to do as a department, and we're going to move forward that way by working together. And that's my promise. And we're going to do that with the citizens of the city of Irondale in mind, and giving you the best service that we can give you. So that's all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chief. And I want to say to the other firemen and the presence of the other residents that are here, we have a great fire department already. He didn't come to make it great, but he's going to help make it better. So I just want you to know that we have great departments and great staff, and the fire department is no exception. For those of you who are wondering and who are questioning it, yes, he is old enough to have a driver's license.
You know, people have been asking about that this week, and I said, well, that's why Chief Salson's driving me around.
We questioned that at the beginning. He just looks a whole lot younger than he really is. He has, 15 years of fire service or something like that. So, yeah, it's hard to believe, isn't it? Yeah. And I had him, I was asked, you're going to face the audience, or you're going to face the council. Not that the council is not important, but he is here to serve you all, the residents. And that's what the fire department will do. So thank you for your support. Thank you for your encouragement. We look for really bright days ahead.
Mayor, is that all? Josh, we're glad to excuse you and your family and the
Yes.
fire
Let me-
department. If you'd like to go ahead and start your reception. So
Yeah, we do have a reception that will follow this meeting, but we'll give the family and friends that want to go, you can go ahead back straight through the doors back there, and wherever Brad or
thank
Wes,
you
you can
very
lead
much.
the way.
Congratulations.
And you all are invited to that reception. Some of you are here for other business, and so once we get concluded with our other business, we'll all join them back there at the reception.
Okay, come on, Grandma.
Come on, Pop.
If you would like to move forward, you're welcome to. If you don't want to sit so far back now, there's plenty of room. I'm assuming with Ms. Shoemaker's absence, she apologizes for not being here, but she's actually moving today, so we will have no report on chamber activity. I don't know if we have any other reports of boards and non-council committees, but apparently no one here for that tonight. Okay. I move that we leave regular council meeting and go into a public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Notice is hereby given that at a regular public meeting beginning at 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday, May 15th, 2018, in the council chambers in City Hall of the City of Irondale, located at 101 20th Street South, Irondale, Alabama, the City Council of the City of Irondale will hear comments from interested citizens concerning the stormwater erosion and sedimentation ordinance, stormwater post-construction ordinance, and stormwater illicit discharge ordinance. And I would like to start this hearing off, though, by having comments. Frank, if you don't mind, he can kind of give us a quick overview of what we're into. This is something we are being mandated to do, so we are moving forward.
July the 1st, 2017.
Is that on?
Here, Frank, use this one.
July the 1st, 2017, we were issued a permit from ADM, state of Alabama, mandating that each city individually now have their own MS4 plan and permit. To meet this permit plan, we had to adopt a plan to meet the permit. That plan was submitted to ADM, and we're waiting on their comments now. They gave you 365 days, July the 1st, 2018. This plan has to be implemented. These ordinances have to be in place. The sediment and erosion control ordinance is basically the same that we've had since '99. There's a few additions in there. The post-construction is our new ordinance. There's a couple of fees in there that we have to adopt in this ordinance. We've worked with SWIMA, who has already adopted these bills. We've worked with Cobble River Society, who's here also, to make sure that we got this right. We've been working on it for a year. It's state mandated, and we have to pass this ordinance to be in compliance by July the 1st.
Thank you. All right. Now, would accept anyone with any comments supporting any of these three ordinances. If anybody has any comments in support of these ordinances, we'd appreciate it if you're coming forward. If you would fill out the paperwork that's available at the back. If you haven't already, please come on forward. You can do it afterwards and hand it to the city clerk. Thank you very much. Just for the record, since you had filled out, would you go ahead and state your name and address?
My name is Randall Haddock. I'm on the staff with the Cahaba River Society. My executive director, Beth Stewart, unfortunately couldn't be here. Unfortunately for a couple of reasons. She's more articulate than I am. And she's a resident of Irondale, which unfortunately I'm not. I want to start out with not a criticism of Irondale, but a criticism of what SWIMA handed to you as the pro forma version of this ordinance. SWIMA did, in my opinion, a fairly poor job.
Could I ask you at this point, I'm asking if there's anyone here first in support. You've got some comments that apparently
No,
have.
my comments are very supportive.
Okay, go ahead. Thank you very much.
I'm being slightly critical of SWIMA, who handed you a version of this that was, from our point of view, very inadequate. And they had a very inadequate public participation process for making any changes or improvements to the SWIMA version. So we came to you individually, and I want to express my great appreciation to your mayor and to your staff for sitting down and listening to us and thoughtfully considering what we had to offer and the changes that we would suggest that be made in that version of the ordinance. Now, they have not adopted absolutely everything we suggested. However, we're very thrilled and very pleased with what we see as improvements, both for the benefit of the citizens of Irondale, but also for the benefit of the river. I want to use this opportunity to do a little bit of education in terms of the distinction or the difference between the stormwater ordinance, which you've adopted, and this post-construction version. There are two different kinds of problems. And the way that you address those problems will be different. The stormwater construction ordinance is a matter of sediment washing off a construction site. And you have things in place to help address that. The post-construction, this is an entirely new recognition of a problem that is, from my point of view, the most severe problem that the river is enduring right now. And that is that as a watershed urbanizes, it becomes, if you will, hardened, or you have surfaces that are pavement and parking lots and rooftops. And what that does is it prevents rainwater from soaking into the ground, and it increases both the rate and the volume of stormwater runoff. So not only is rainwater being delivered more rapidly into the streams, but it's also a greater volume of rainwater that's being delivered. That causes what we call in-stream or channel erosion. Just because you put more water in the river, it has to adapt, physically adapt to that. Well, we made a number of changes to that, just like red line suggestions, and sat down with Frank and the mayor and went through those. And the most important of those suggestions we feel were addressed. So I won't go on very much more.
You don't have very much longer, so please.
The last thing I'll say is that the way that you address this problem is different, and mostly that's through utilizing low-impact development and green infrastructure approaches. And that's it has to be a flexible thing, a flexible approach, and we sort of offer ourselves, to the degree we can, to help in that regard and try to share what we've learned from other people and their successes in adopting those kind of LID, green infrastructure techniques and approaches. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Any more comments in favor? If not, do I have anyone here to speak against? If not, do I have a motion that we leave our public hearing and go back to regular council?
I make a motion that we leave our public hearing and go into our regular session.
And do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Now we'll start with our reports. John, if you don't mind.
No, good. Thanks, Prosper. Good evening. I mean, I just want to commend the mayor and Frank, because I think the Cahaba River Society have numerous knowledge of what we're talking about. And I just want to commend you guys for sitting down with them and working through this ordinance, because they really do a great job with our rivers and our river section. I just want to say thank you for that.
Appreciate it. Council Spivey.
I too would like to echo that. I'm excited about the opportunity for us to take these things on board. We have a nice little relationship, hopefully, with ADEM, and looking forward to some of the projects that we can do around the city that this will help us be more in line with and help us have more robust conversations with ADEM. So very, very thankful for this.
Yeah, I think Council London and Council Spivey said it all. Same here. But thank you. Thanks for the assistance. That's all.
In the absence of Ms. Shoemaker tonight, she did want to mention that this weekend at the Restore, next to the main building, their, I guess call it their public room or whatever, the Irondale Arts Council is having an artist work session from 10 to 3, both Friday and Saturday. This is not a sale. This is just going to be artists there, trading secrets, talking, doing their work, but the public's welcome to come by, ask questions, participate, do whatever they want. Again, it's just another art pop-up event to try to get people, because they're drawing from all around the area, not only Irondale. So it's been very successful, but everyone's welcome to join if they would like to. And with that being said, do I have anyone that would like to start on approval of the agenda? I think we have one item to add tonight, so.
I don't know if I have the, James, I know you sent it. The edit, the revised.
The only, the one that would not show, it's the one we were sent, minus one that would be added in Councilor London. I believe our city clerk's been kind enough to draft a resolution on that, so.
Thank you. I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as stated under new business.
And with the addition of,
I'll let James read that resolution.
It's not.
no, sir.
No, it's just me.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, with the addition of what our city clerk will add.
It'll read, resolve that resolution 2018-R-33 approves the Irondale Youth and Education Committee recommendation to provide funding for the Shades Valley High School FBLA to attend the FBLA Leadership Conference in Baltimore, Maryland, in the amount of $2,800.
And for the record with the reading of that, we'll discuss that it's not coming out of city funding if it is approved. Okay? And with that comment, do we have any comments from the public on agenda items on tonight?
I think
Other
we
than
have,
what was said in the public hearing?
I think we have Mr. Shaw here from Shade Valley, would you like to comment?
Yes. I'd like to introduce a couple of my students. I have my FBLA president here. This is Kennedy Jenkins. Kennedy has also been elected District 5 Vice President, which means she is a state FBLA officer. She'll be doing some extensive travel around the state this upcoming school year. I also have Raven Hildreth, my Vice President for the coming school year, and my co-advisor, Ms. Nacita Marks. We just want to say we greatly appreciate the council hearing our request here. This will greatly benefit our students as we attend the national conference, and that gives them an opportunity to network with students from across the United States and around the world. And all 50 states plus foreign countries are represented at this conference, so it's a great opportunity for our students. We greatly appreciate you here.
Thank you very much.
Also, comment, the education committee had a meeting, I didn't make it, but they had a meeting last night. I think Terry, I'll read what they said. He explained it very well, if I can find an email. But this fund is coming out of the designated education water fund, which it has about $16,000 in. That's what it's going to come out of. And I think it's confused about $200 per student. So it's something we've done in the past. That's a great idea. Thank you, Mr. Shaw.
I have one question, if you don't mind. Give me that total amount again, James?
That's it,
No, the amount that they're requesting.
$2,800.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Does that clarify that? Okay. Do we have any additional public comments on agenda items only? If not, we'll go right to our regular business tonight under new business.
I don't think we approved it. Did we approve it? Did we get a
Is that
second?
good approved?
Did we get a second?
Did you get approved?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, sorry. Okay. And we're looking at the first one, which is Resolution 208R32, which is going to appoint one of the named people on the list to the Irondale Commercial Development Authority for a term that will expire March 15, 2022, filling the position. It says previously held by David Pugh. He is in the position. It's about a year past replacement. We have some names that are listed with that resolution. One of those names would need to be put in to a form of a motion, be seconded and voted on in order to either keep Mr. Pugh in place or replace him with one of the other names listed.
I would make a motion to appoint David Pugh for this position.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Motion carries. Okay. The next thing, we're moving into our large group of ordinances. And the first one is ordinance 2018-11, which approves the City of Irondale Stormwater Erosion and Sedimentation Plan. And do I have a motion that this ordinance 2018, no, excuse me. Okay.
This is the three-step process.
We're going to have to vote for it again and to final approve it. So we're now voting for the final approval on the 2018R32 with the name David Pugh as the person in that resolution.
I'll make a motion that resolution 2018 R-32 appoints David Pugh to that position.
And that's again for the term that will expire March 15th, 2022. Do I have a second on that motion?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, moving on to the ordinances. Do I have a motion that ordinance 2018-11 be considered read?
I'll make a motion that ordinance 2018-11 be considered read.
Second.
Do I have a second? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Mr. President, you need a roll call for that.
That'll be on this next item.
Okay.
Do I have a motion that we suspend all rules that would prevent the immediate consideration of ordinance, do it on the first one now? I thought it was on the second one. Roll call vote was on the second part, right? So-
You're suspending the rules?
Yeah, that's what we're heading into now, right?
Tonight, you just wanted to consider it read. You didn't want to suspend the rules for immediate consideration because it's not going to be voted on until the next council meeting.
Now, we're getting some confusion here. Do we want to move forward or not?
That's up to y'all, if you want to move forward.
I'm fine with moving forward on
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Unless there's some objection, we might as well do it.
Okay, we're moving forward then.
Want me
Okay?
to read them off? You want me to read all of them?
Well, we've already suspended reading on the first one, okay? We'll do one at a time, so we'll go through it on each one. That's okay.
So I make a motion that all rules that would prevent the immediate consideration and adoption of ordinance 2018-11 be suspended and that unanimous consent be given for immediate consideration of said ordinance.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Counselor London?
Yes.
Counselor Spivey?
Yes.
Counselor Wilson?
Yes.
Myself, yes, also.
I finally make a motion that ordinance number 2018-11 be finally passed and adopted as introduced.
And do I have a second on that?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. That one passes. And move on to the second one. Counselor Spivey, you just want to pick up on that one again?
Sure.
then?
I make a motion that ordinance number 2018-12 be considered read.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
I make a motion that all rules that would prevent the immediate consideration and adoption of ordinance number 2018-12 be suspended and that unanimous consent be given for the immediate consideration of said ordinance.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Counselor London?
Yes.
Counselor Spivey?
Yes.
Counselor Wilson?
Yes.
Myself, yes.
I make a motion that ordinance number 2018-12 be finally passed and adopted as introduced.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
I make a motion that ordinance number 2018-13 be considered read.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
I make a motion that all rules that would prevent the immediate consideration and adoption of ordinance 2018-13 be suspended and that unanimous consent be given for the immediate consideration of said ordinance.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Counselor London?
Yes.
Counselor Spivey?
Yes.
Counselor Wilson?
Yes.
Myself, yes.
Finally, I make a motion that ordinance 2018-13 be finally passed and adopted as introduced.
Second.
Second, okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Thank you very much. That does pass. Thank you, Frank. That clears up all three for tonight, okay?
All right, the one issue, the repealing of the old sediment erosion control plan. Ordinance. It needs to be repealed.
You'll have to possibly put that on the next agenda.
Yeah,
It's going to be done before July 1st, before this going to go fast.
Okay. That'll work. And we'll still be within anything. Okay, fine. Thank you. Okay. And we're moving on. Let's see, we have one more. Okay. Anybody want to pick up?
Make a motion that 2018-14 be moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You had a question, Dave?
No, is this, what was the number we're assigning to this? Okay. So that's resolution 2018 R-33?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And we've had a second before I call for the vote. Are there any questions? And making it very clear that we have that is coming from money that was donated through water bills, donations that were over and above the water bill, specifically for education use. And the Education Committee and Youth Committee recommended that it be given to this request from Shades Valley. And it's approximately $16,000 in the fund, and the request was about $2,800. All right. And, okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? All right, thank you very much. So we've gone through everything. We've gotten our 3 ordinances. We've gotten our 1, 2 resolutions. And at this point, do we have any general public comments? Please, ma'am. Please use that one. Yes, ma'am, it works much better. You may have to push the button until the green light comes on.
It's on.
Okay.
Hi, good evening. I have one question and one request. And the question is, what is the fiscal year for the city of Irondale? Is it January to December?
October to September.
October to December. And how could I get a copy of the budget for 2014 through 2017?
You can send me an email with a request and I can email it to you.
That's a huge file, isn't
No, I'll condense it.
it? Okay. And just one compliment. I want to thank Dr. Haddock for working with you folks. Just one quick comment. I'm from Maryland, and everyone saw the flood in Ellicott City. That was a direct result of high-density development and corruption. So thank you so much for working with the Cahapa River Society so we don't have something like that happen. So thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Any additional comments? I think Melanie, you were coming forward first, please.
Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening. Donald Dunlap, 1335 Montebello Road, Irondale. I've been living in Irondale for the past 30 years. I have seen and observed various businesses that were here when I moved here disappear. And we've seen attempts at attracting businesses in Irondale over this period of time. And in the opinion of the people that I have talked to, the success has been limited. Now, the auto mall and Mercedes-Benz out on the interstate, there was no real need for us to push for that development because the people that have invested in that knew that the money in this area is moving east of the city, and that location was ideal. But when it comes to grocers, to other retail businesses generating revenue here in Irondale, we've seen them come and go. Up here at the Grants Mill Station, I've watched businesses attempt to start up there, and they disappear within 2 to 3 months because they simply they're not being attracted up there to it. Now, some will say that that is they're publicizing their existence is the responsibility of the businesses and the developers up there. But this is where I think the city of Irondale should participate in this effort to attract businesses. I have gone to the various cities around here, especially at Trustful, and they have got signs that point to various businesses on the main routes in and out of Trustful that are very effective. And I think it would be good for the city of Irondale to consider a cooperative effort with the retail people in the city of Irondale to let the public know. I mean, we've watched the traffic on Interstate 20 over the past 30 years just increase dramatically. And we have always bragged here, and I've done this with previous administrations, we've got 3 exits off of Interstate 20 with a easy access for traffic that is going through here headed east. And as far as taking advantage of it, in my opinion, we haven't done it. And this needs to be done. We see the huge highway signs.
I thank you, Dunlap. Your time is up. If you don't mind, we do have the 3-minute rule, and we appreciate it.
Well,
But I think at the next, if you would be kind enough to attend our next meeting, you will see about 5 items coming from planning and zoning that have to do with new businesses.
Yeah.
And there's several other ones that are currently under development. So things are starting to happen. They're not going to happen overnight, but they are taking a turn in the right direction. But you've got to remember, we don't control the land at this point.
I realize that.
And that's been part of our problem all along, but things are starting to happen. And I think if you come to the next one, you may find out some things that are very positive.
Okay, that sounds good. And with your permission, grant me just another minute, one other little item. I see right now with the cut in the revenue we've got coming in, I'm hoping to see some of the expenditures that have been taking place in this city, which in the opinion of many, in my opinion, they are low priority items. And I have seen reports where the recycle program in other cities is actually costing them money because the people are putting things into the recycling, which results in a fine from the people doing the recycling. And I request that you take a close look at that, because that, every little bit we can cut that could go to maintaining the key services here in Irondale, right now, that's where we should be looking. Now, when things get back
On that
up,
one,
yeah.
just for your information, that has been brought up, and I think the mayor has done a thorough review of that. And I think at some point there may be a recommendation coming forward as to how we go in the future. All we would do, the council would either approve that or disapprove it, but the operational end of that comes out of the mayor's office and out of street and sanitation. So they would need to make that recommendation, but it has been looked at and there is a potential for savings. It's just a matter of moving forward.
May I say one thing real quick to piggyback on that? I do think there is a educational piece that we could probably do a better job at. I don't know if it's maybe a session at the library one day where we can say, hey, we have recycling, this is how you do it correctly. Because I think some of the things that are contaminated might just be things that are getting in there because people don't know any better and they just put them in there to begin with.
I think that would be excellent.
Yeah, so we can work with that.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Leave. Pat, I saw you fill out.
Yeah, I
paperwork
forgot
earlier.
to.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. This one?
That one.
This one.
Yes, ma'am, if you would, please.
Oh, here. Oh, I don't know, I'll give it, can I give it to you later, I wrote down.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. He knows where you live.
I don't know if that's good or bad, but anyway, first thing I wanted to do is invite you all to our, I know school is just getting out, but we're planning a back-to-school fun day, July the 21st. And we want to invite, even though it's going to be in Beacon Park and it's holiday garden sponsored, we want to invite all the council, all the regular members that come to the meetings to come out. And this is a way to unite our community and to get us to get to know each other and to also kind of get the kids motivated to go back to school. Because now you go back in August, so we have to have it in July. But it's July the 21st, it'll probably be, and especially our fire department and our public works. If you don't get a personal invitation, take this as a personal invitation. We want to invite all of you out, to the Beacon Park. And so you can get to know all the neighborhood members and all of us on the 21st. That's one thing. The other thing, I had a question. I don't know if this is the right place to ask it, but I was looking at some information, I think it might have been on social media, about some of the changes that are happening in Jefferson County Board of Education. It seems like it's gonna divide up our community into two different schools. Anyway, do we have any input to the board, Jefferson County Board of Education from our city to say, I just hate that they're splitting up our neighborhood like that. It looks like half the kids are gonna be going to Irondale Community School and half going to Grasswood. And I just wonder.
You do have Miss Donna Pike, who lives in the city of Irondale, who's on the.
So we can contact her?
Yes, ma'am. That's
Okay.
who I would contact.
Do we
She is
just,
the representative.
okay, we just contact them individually, or can we make a recommendation that our council takes a position and contact her, or how do we do that?
Well, not knowing the subject as far as what's going on,
Yeah.
you know, I'm afraid to say I haven't heard that.
Well, I just saw it on where they had a map. Anybody seen it but me?
And you know how to feel about
And
social media.
remember, you're a force in the vote, and voters seem to speak louder sometimes.
Oh, we're gonna speak, but I just wanna make sure we're doing it the right way. I don't wanna go.
That's why she's in office.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll have to get
I'll get with her, I'll get with her.
Thank you.
But it just bothered me that we're splitting up the neighborhood, and they're going to do two different schools, which is no problem, because it just means we'll have to split up our effort and deal with two different entities. The other thing, and I know that we're looking at for different businesses, but one of the things I'd like for us to consider, since we're trying to get younger people into our neighborhoods and what have you, I remember when I first moved to Irondale, we had a daycare right there in my community. It was like a couple of blocks from my house. And that just gave me so much comfort of knowing that my son, I could drop him off on the way to work and pick him up, and he was right there in the neighborhood where all my neighbors and what have you were. So I want us to consider having, trying to attract those kind of services for our young people. How else would they want to live in our neighborhoods, especially for Holiday Gardens, because most of our area is residential. So we want young people to come, and when they get married and have children, they don't want to have to take their kids all over town. So if we can have a good daycare service come to our neighborhood, we'd love that. And definitely we need to still consider having a place for our young people to be. Not just in the street playing basketball, or, they are playing in the streets. And so we're looking at some things that we will bring to you in the future about having some places for them to play that's not in the street. And they really have nowhere else to play. They're not gonna walk, I live on the other side of Holiday Gardens, they're not gonna walk to Beacon Park to play for a few minutes.
We're past your time, so.
Oh, okay,
would appreciate
but
it.
just
Thank you.
consider that they need some place to be, to play, and in order to get young people to come, their children need to be accommodated.
Thank you so much. I appreciate those comments. Yes, ma'am. If you don't trip over your ribs.
Good evening. I'm Kennedy Jenkins, Shays Valley High School's FBLA president, and I would like to say thank you so much for granting us with the funding to go to Baltimore. Everybody who was going, it's actually all of our first time making it to nationals, going to state, competing, and going to nationals, and we all have ribbons, some longer than others when we go. So I would just like to say that we greatly appreciate it, and we thank you for having our back and having support as we go to Baltimore and compete. So thank you so much.
And definitely a thank you to the citizens who contributed in the water bill to make that fund available for the students. Thank y'all very much. Anyone else in the audience? If not, I'm not gonna miss you this time. I don't see you moving. You good tonight? Okay. Let me make sure. All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
If you all would like to go back and read the